Good evening, football fans, and welcome to another playoff edition of the Coach's Corner. I am Jeff Briscoe. In just a few moments, I'll chat with Charlotte Tarpon's head football coach, Binky Waldrop, as we preview his team's regional final matchup against the Palmetto Tigers. Always a good thing when we're still playing high school football as the calendar nears Thanksgiving. We'll get to that in a moment, but let's begin the show by thanking our great sponsor, located right in downtown Punta Gorda, Greg's Automotive, serving all your automotive repair needs with yesterday's service and tomorrow's technology. Greg's Automotive, supporting Charlotte High School and the Coach's Corner, and they invite you to do the same. We thank Greg's Automotive for their great support all season long. Now, let me remind you, if you can't make the Tarpons game tonight in person at Palmetto High School, keep it right here on 1070 The Zone. Myself, Jeff Briscoe, my partner, Larry Timko, will hit the air just a little bit, 7:15 p.m. with the pregame show, followed by live play-by-play action, 7:30 tonight, right here on 1070. If you can't be in front of a radio, check us out online at 1070thezone.com, or better yet, download the iHeartRadio app on your cell phone, search for station WKII, and you'll be able to listen to the stream of the game. Now, let's go ahead and take a look how we got here. For the Charlotte Tarpons, last week, a thrilling victory. Second round playoff action, the Tarpons again hit the road up to Lake Gibson in Lakeland, Florida, and come away with a 45-42 victory. It was a game that went 4 overtimes. A dramatic interception in that fourth overtime, set up by Tavian Kelly, gave the Tarpons a chance to get the win on offense, which they did when kicker Tyler Amaral put one through the uprights. Charlotte takes the 45-42 victory last week. Week before that, in first round action, Tarpons also get the win on the road as they cross the state over to the Fort Pierce area against Westwood High School, take the win in the rain a couple of Friday nights ago, 20-7 over the Westwood Panthers. Meanwhile, for the Palmetto Tigers, last week they came down to the wire. They got a scare by the Port Charlotte Pirates, who went up to Palmetto, almost pulled off the upset, but Palmetto comes away with a 23-17 victory. Worth noting, all three schools, district opponents this year. Port Charlotte gave Palmetto a much tougher contest the second time they faced them. We hope that the Charlotte Tarpons do that and even better, as this will be a rematch of a game between Charlotte and Palmetto back on October 11th. Palmetto did take the 34-0 victory in that one here at the Fishbowl in Punta Gorda. So Charlotte certainly looking to improve, and when you look at their record at this point, 9-3 on the season, it does seem like Coach Waldrop's team is peaking at the right time. Meanwhile, the Palmetto Tigers with an 11-1 mark. They are district champs, led by a senior quarterback, Xavier Williams. Plenty of weapons on offense, including junior running back Sajel Hickson, some dangerous wideouts, and very deep at defense. Palmetto really too deep at each position on defense. None of the kids go both ways. They really specialize offense and defense. Palmetto's got a tremendous football team, so we know the Charlotte Tarpons, this will be a stiff challenge, but one that the team certainly looks ready to meet. And it's a familiar position for Coach Binky Waldrop and the Charlotte Tarpons. This will be the 6th regional final game played by Charlotte High School in the last 12 years. Who can forget back in 2016 when Charlotte hit the road? Like tonight, went down to Fort Myers on that November evening, got the victory over Fort Myers High School to take a regional championship back in 2016. Let's hope the Tarpons can do it again tonight. With that being said, let's sit down and preview tonight's action with Coach Binky Waldrop. But before we preview tonight's game, of course, we want to take a look at last week. A 45-42 victory at Lake Gibson, a game that goes 4 overtimes. What a contest, huh?
Yeah, it was just an incredible game to be a part of, and obviously we liked it even more that we came out on top in the game, but beat a very good football team. Our kids battled, and just we're so proud of them.
Yeah, and undefeated prior to that game, Lake Gibson, a district champion. And I think it was a great compliment to the victory the week before, the victory on the East Coast over another district champion, Westwood Fort Pierce, which I think 20-7 was the final. But in that game kind of had the feeling that Charlotte came out of the gate hot. They're in control, and you held on in the second half, whereas in Lake Gibson, obviously, all the way through those overtimes, back and forth. So 1 minute looks like you're up, the next minute you're down. So your kid's a little bit battle-tested. They're used to winning both ways in these two games.
Yeah, we played ahead in the first half. Second half, we got down. They forced a couple punts in the fourth quarter, and, wasn't quite time to go for it yet. We're down 8, and finally late in the game, we put a great drive together and got a 2-point conversion to tie the game and extend it.
Yeah, 2-point conversion, that's one of several, I call them do-or-die plays. Obviously needed that, or we wouldn't be in this position. Coach, let's break down some of your performers. Of course, I'll start with your quarterback, the junior John Boucher, 137 through the air, 60 yards on the ground. Looks like he managed the game successfully all the way around.
He did. He's playing very well right now. He threw some nice balls. Just a tough kid. He carries the ball 20 times a game. He's a great quarterback, but he's a great running back as well.
And here's one, I always enjoy talking to you about, senior linebacker Malachi Menzer. But Coach, I think it's fair that we introduce him as a running back as well at this point.
He's doing everything for us right now. Just definitely our team MVP. The last 4 games, he's been making 14, 15 tackles a game, and he's been averaging between 80 and 90 yards a game rushing. What an incredible run he had on the 2-point conversion last Friday to help us tie the score. Just an extremely tough kid and a great football player.
And one more, Coach, Tavian Kelly. We know your running back battled through some injuries, makes a big play on defense that ultimately seals the victory.
Yeah, he came out in the fourth overtime and started it with a pick in the end zone. How nice was that? We ran the ball a couple times and kicked the field goal and won it. But he's just he's a great athlete, and he's been very solid the last 4 or 5 weeks as well.
Jeff Briscoe talking with Charlotte Tarpon's head football coach, Binky Waldrop, as we get ready for tonight's regional championship game against the Palmetto Tigers. Coach, we're going to preview Palmetto in a minute, a team that we're very familiar with, as they are with us. But I want to talk to you a little bit about this playoff run you're on now, 3 consecutive road games, and, this will be a little shorter trip than the past 2, but even the trip to Palmetto, at least an hour on the road. Kids are getting used to being on the road, a Friday routine as they take these games thus far, 2 for 2.
Yeah, we got a pretty good routine right now. We, doing some great things. Kids are, in a good place right now. They're playing hard for each other, and, we don't mind going on the road.
Yeah, so certainly shows that by the results. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at Palmetto. As I mentioned, it's a team we know. Certainly give them their kudos. They are the district champion of our district. Beat Charlotte earlier in the season 34-0. But here we are. We said this will go through Palmetto, and indeed it works out that way, that Charlotte will get a rematch with Palmetto. And I'd be remiss not to mention, not only are they now a district opponent, Coach, but this is a game that you've had on the schedule for several years. I know the respect you have for Coach Marino, become a little bit of a rivalry between Charlotte and Palmetto.
Yeah, we're very familiar with each other. They've got extremely tough kids. He's got a great football team this year. They're fast. They're big up front. They got a great kicking game. We got a few things differently we'll do to try to close up that 34-point gap from 6 weeks ago. But, we feel good about going in, and, we're happy to be playing right now and really got nothing to lose.
Yeah, I imagine it's sort of a mixed blessing where it's as opposed to the schools the past couple of weeks that we weren't very familiar with, have more familiarity with Palmetto. But then again, they do with us, and they know that the two schools know each other, so it's the temptation that, maybe they'll do things a little differently than they did last time.
Well, they know what they're getting when we show up. Our kids are going to play hard. We're going to be physical. Just a big game like this comes down to mistakes, turnovers, kicking game. All the little things you got to do well. You don't want to play from behind. You want to come out right from the start and play good, solid football.
Jeff Briscoe talking with Coach Binky Waldrop. Couple more minutes as we get ready for tonight's Charlotte Tarpon game. Coach, last week for Palmetto, it was a 23-17 victory at home over Port Charlotte. Game comes down really to the final play. Port Charlotte played very well in that one. And in terms of looking at Palmetto, whereas we had seen some of their explosiveness earlier in the year, it was a little more traditional. They used a short passing game effectively, obviously limited what Port Charlotte could do on defense as well.
Yeah, Port Charlotte seemed to play a good game against them. Just came up a little short at the end. Palmetto has explosive athletes, and you got to do your best to try to contain them. They got outside on them a few times last week and beat them for big plays, and that's what you got to prevent this time of year.
Yeah, indeed. So, Coach, last question. Always like to give you the chance to address the Charlotte faithful, both our listeners, parents, alumni, the whole community. This is such a great rallying moment to support this school as it marches on into another regional final. So just a word for the fans as we wrap up our interview.
Well, we love you guys. You're motivating us right now. We've had 2 very long road trips in the playoffs. We've had a great following. I know there'll be a lot of people listening to this game on the radio tonight, and we love you guys, and, we're going to hopefully get this done for you.
Coach, we're looking forward to it. Great job thus far in the playoffs, and, hey, let's do it again next week, okay?
Yes, sir.
And that was Charlotte Tarpon's head football coach, Binky Waldrop. Always appreciate him making time for the show, especially on a busy week like this one, getting ready for the regional championship game tonight. There's a lot to practice to try and mix things up, as Coach referred to from what they did earlier in the season. Both teams know each other. They have film on each other. They want to present some different looks, so certainly expect that from your Charlotte Tarpons. But also for Coach Waldrop, just keeping this team together. I think 2 consecutive road games. This will be a 3rd one. Team is gelling at the right time. There's a lot of camaraderie. The long bus trip certainly can help as you get ready for these things. And the Tarpons becoming road warriors, and we'll take it. Let's see if they could take the win tonight in the regional championship and march on towards that state championship. As Tarpon fans, we'd like nothing better. Now, let's go ahead and thank our great sponsor for tonight's broadcast of the Coach's Corner, and that's Greg's Automotive. Based right in downtown Punta Gorda, serving you for all your automotive repair needs with yesterday's service and tomorrow's technology. Greg's Automotive supporting the Coach's Corner, as well as Charlotte High School and the Charlotte Tarpons, and we thank them for their great support all season long. As I mentioned earlier, if you can't hit the road and watch the game in person from Palmetto High School, make sure you tune in right here on 1070 The Zone. Myself, Jeff Briscoe, my partner, Larry Tipko, will have a call of the action tonight on radio, beginning at 7:15 p.m. with our pregame show from Palmetto High School, followed by kickoff and play-by-play at 7:30. You can tune in right here on 1070 or listen online on a computer, 1070thezone.com, or on your phone, download the iHeartRadio app, search for station WKII, join us for that game, and cheer on the Charlotte Tarpons to a big victory regional final tonight against the Palmetto Tigers. Well, it's been a fun season for the Charlotte Tarpons. Let's hope it continues, and if it does, here on the Coach's Corner, we'll be there every step of the way. As I told Coach Waldrop, look forward to seeing you next week, and let's hope that all begins with a victory over Palmetto tonight. On behalf of our great sponsor, Greg's Automotive, and Coach Binky Waldrop, I am Jeff Briscoe, thanking you for listening to the Coach's Corner and saying, Go Tarpons!